And rolling.
So when I was a kid, my earliest memories were listening to the Beatles and my mother and father's stereo hi-fi system over and over and over again. Then my main love actually until I was a teenager was computers. We had a Commodore PET in the house at the end of the 1970s. My dad was part of some kind of syndicate at his work where they all owned this Commodore PET and it got passed around everyone and they took their turn with it. So then we had a VIC 20 which I started learning to make crap games on, and believe me, they were crap. And then I get into the sounds. Like I sat with my dad one night and he programmed it to play One Man Went to Mow a Medal, which I found quite fascinating. Then like there was a game soundtrack, Sega Saturn's, not Saturn, sorry, System 16 in the arcade machines. They had fucking superb sound for the time. Like Outrun was the first video game ever, I think, where you got to choose what music you put on.
What a game! What a game!
So I got into doing naughty things, so learned that you can use computers to get your own way.
That's uncomfortable.
My friend at the time, he was quite into the Amiga piracy scene. He introduced me to all the right people. Then we started scouring discs for addresses and phone numbers and stuff. Go through them with sector editors, and we had a trading network set up. We learned how to bypass a copy protection. But all this kind of led to discovering a thing called ProTracker. So that young person now would not seem like a big deal. Like they would think, well, so what? I can do everything ProTracker can do, and 100 times more with Pro Tools or Reaper. With the added bonus, I don't need to learn how to read hex numbers. But it was the first time ever that without bespoke studio equipment that cost thousands of pounds, you could actually record samples, whip them, stretch them, put effects on them. You could slice them, you could glissando, you could do all sorts of crazy stuff with it. That would have been behind a massive paywall before. So going forward from there, I'd never really been able to decide when I started buying guitars whether I was a computer nerd or whether I was a musician. So when it started all moving digital, you were recording in the box, as they call it, using the PC as a tape. Then you could be both at once, and that was it for me. Then my mate Wolf had bought this MD8 mini disc recording device with 8-channel recording because we tried getting local engineers to record stuff for us, but no one would do it the way we wanted to. Not so much out of badness, just it's very, very difficult to explain when you're not a technician what kind of sound you want. You know,
Right.
like we couldn't say like take the compressor ratio up a bit, move the threshold down a bit. No, but a faster attack time and the kick drum because we didn't know any of these things. So we decided we were going to have to produce the tracks ourselves. Wolf spent £1,000 on this mini disc device, which that was 1990s money. It's about the equivalent of $2,500 of today's money, and they couldn't make head nor tail of it, couldn't get it to work, so he just gave it to me. So it was not an inconsequential present. He could have sold it and got not a good chunk of the money back because it had never been used. So I set to work with that and started making really shockingly piss pathetic recordings. I was trying to do things because I had no equipment. I didn't even have a guitar amp at the time. So my girlfriend, who I worked with in a local hotel, had given me an Epiphone SG35.
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, which is still here to this day, although hasn't been used for a while. It's
Is it little fusty?
little fisty, yeah, but it still exists.
Yes, the patient still has a pulse, I can confirm this.
Yeah, poor old thing.
I'll give that a clean for
Needs a clean and a play up.
Not now.
Oh, that yes.
If I had a paintbrush, I would.
Aye.
We'll get one after this. So where were we? Oh, there's G35. So I was trying to just plug it straight into
I'm thinking more
the
about getting the fucking dust first.
recording device with no amplification, no microphone, and no
Terrible thing to say,
preamp
but
for
that's online.
basically nothing. It
Because they had
didn't
nothing.
even have pedals like this at the time. It was just the guitar plugged straight into the recording device, which is the exact opposite of how you're actually meant to record a guitar. So then I was trying to draw in
Brian's guitars that way. They definitely
I was trying to draw in the distortion and Code Pro. It had a kind of graphic distortion thing where you drew in the curve with the mouse. So you ended up with this ridiculously rasping, fucking hideous distortion, which I actually have an example of here.
No, that's Ray Bradbury.
That's Ray Bradbury, not
That's not screaming, scracking distortion.
He'd make a good sample.
So this was recorded with the old device. The woman singing is Emily Lenoir from Boulogne, Paris. And there's the distortion. So it's not exactly a Marshall stack sound, but it was a cool project because it was back in the days of snail mail. There was internet at the time, but you get booted off every 2 hours. It was dial-up. It was still modems that did audio modulation. Oh, there's that raspberry in. So it was actually quicker putting the stuff in a CD and send it by Royal Mail to Paris than it was trying to send it over the internet, which involved like FTP sites and the person at the other end knew what they're doing with them. So she and her partner at the time, Michael Jeanbrum, who was an audio engineer as well, put the vocals on it, then they sent it back to me. And although it's a far cry from what I can do with the equipment I've got now, it's still fun to listen to.
Yeah.
So, right, what bit of the timeline am I up to? Right, I'm not quite at popping cherries yet.
No.
So, This point, I realised if I was going to produce anything that sounded like what you hear on a CD, I was going to have to do it properly. So I went to college and locked myself in a room with a multi-track recorder for hours every day and just practiced constantly until eventually it got more like the sound you hear in commercial discs. At this point, I was in a band as a bass player. I went to the bass originally because I was the worst guitarist out of my friends group, so the bass role was available. But I actually found that I liked playing the bass more anyway, so it was the right move. But with the multi-track recorder from Wolf, that meant that I could play what I wanted and do what I wanted without the rock and roll police putting the brakes on it, because all the people I'd worked with before that were purists of very specific types of music, and to stray outside those very specific and narrow Overton windows of music meant being ridiculed, laughed at and insulted at great length. So that basically it all started with Wolf buying a £1,000 mini disc multi-tracker and not being able to operate it.